This generation of Africans have been taught to abandon who they truly are, who they really are, and carry on with foreign personalities and foreign culture, and everything about the Gen Z African is absolutely Western. Western in mindset, Western in behavioral conduct. The importance of the African continent, the importance of the African. The average African has been intimidated over time. Africa represents humanity. Today's generation of Africans have lost touch with the African identity. They've lost contact with the African culture and the African nation. Civilization is not stupidity. Stupidity is when you abandon who you are and take on another man's identity and thereby getting yourself absolutely confused. You do not know where you're coming from, neither do you know where you're headed. Civilization, on the other hand, is you picking up civilized principles and lifestyle and then embedding it into your own culture, thereby enriching your culture and becoming more creative culturally as a person, as a society. This generation of Africans have been taught to abandon who they truly are, who they really are, and carry on with foreign personalities and foreign culture, and everything about the Gen Z African is absolutely Western. Western in mindset, Western in behavioral conduct.
Proverbs and Adages, bringing ancient truths to life.
Today's generation of Africans have lost touch with the African identity. They've lost contact with the African culture and the African nature. And these, of course, we know are as a result of religion and civilization. But civilization doesn't cause you to forget who you really are. I am KC Desmond, and this is Kingdom Inheritors Television. I welcome you to this channel, Proverbs and Adages. Here on this channel, we're going to be looking into different culture and historical transition. All right? Now, seeing what I'm putting on, this is Africa, and that is because I am African. I am African in everything. Of course, someone will say you're not African in your speech, in the way you're speaking. That is education. That is civilization. Civilization is you learning what other people have, what they know, gaining knowledge from other civilized world, and then bringing it into your own culture, thereby transforming yourself into a better African and not a lost African or an African suffering mental slavery as it is in today's African society. Therefore, stick with me on this channel, because right here on this channel, we are going to explore the African heritage and then get deep into the principles of the church and the teachings of Christ, side by side, Proverbs and Adages. We are going to be bringing out a lot of facts that will transform you, that will reform your mind, reform your stance, reform your set of beliefs as an African. So if you're a person who is interested in re-identifying yourself as an African, as the real African man or woman, or again, you're a person who wants to learn things about the African heritage, then this is where to be. I welcome you heartily to this channel, and I want to implore you to make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that each time we post videos on this channel, you will be duly notified. Now, I am not here alone in this studio. I'm here with two wonderful guests, all right? And first of all, I have Emmanuel. Was that your traditional name you gave? Nsikak. Yeah, Emmanuel Nsikak. He is from Akwa Ibom State, and traditionally your language should be Ibibio, if I'm not. Yeah, Ibibio, and I appreciate that Ibibio cat. Okay, and beside him is Fragrance. Looking at the way she looks like a modernized or a modern African queen. Yeah, you're welcome. And now, what are we doing here? You might be confusing all of this. I mean, you can see this, you can see this, you can see all of that, and yet you can see the Bible. The question on your mind is, how do all of these, how do they sync? Is there consonance between these things? Now, this is actually what this channel is meant for. This channel is meant to differentiate between witchcraft and the gospel. This channel is meant to differentiate between the Western religious slavery that the average African is suffering and the African believing in Christ, understanding who Christ is, understanding the Word of God, and understanding it as an African, not as a European or as a Roman or as a Jew. We are Africans. So don't get it confused. None of these actually is meant to get you lost or get you confused. Rather, these are actually meant to get you re-educated. Permit me to use that word. Re-educated on who you are and on the values that we have as Africans. Let me come to you, Emmanuel. And I appreciate the fact that Fragrance is here. She said she was going to be here by all means because she's fascinated with these things and she really wants to be, she wants to grace the show so that we can have very hearty conversations and also be educated on these things. And I believe that she's not just the only person on this side of the line. I'm very sure that millions of our viewers and subscribers are actually on that same path because in these days, religion has turned the average African into a slave. Let me just be sarcastic a little bit. Imagine you're in church and you meet me ministering and I'm anointing people, the normal, the usual anointing service, all right? And then we have this, okay, you see this with me and I dip my finger into it and I bring it out and it's as red as blood. And you're like, what's this? And I tell you, it's red oil. I can't imagine what, the thoughts that will flood your mind. And this is actually where it becomes very, very imperative for us to educate people. We need to educate even the Western world. We need to educate our fellow Africans and educate ourselves on who we really are and what all of these actually stand for and what they mean. And if time permits, definitely not on this episode, but I know that we'll get to a point where we'll begin to look at whether there is any form of witchcraft or idolatry in any of these things we're seeing here. Okay, but before we go further, Can you help us? Let's look at um, let's speak a particular language because these are African heritage. All right, these are African heritage. I mean, I'm from Ika speaking dialects of Delta State, Nigeria. You are from Ibibio in Akwa Ibom State. You are from Edo State, all right? And I hope that our viewers will permit me to begin with the popular language, one of the popular languages in Nigeria, because when you talk Nigeria, the first thing that comes to people's mind is Wazobia. So we want to begin with the Wa there, which is the Yoruba language. Okay, so can you quickly take us through what these are called?
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start from this to my left, and it is called Aha Imem.
Aha Imemu.
Aha Imem.
Okay, that's this very
Yeah,
one.
that's one.
Aha Imemu.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain a little bit?
It's used for drinking.
Okay.
Drinking
Yeah, I know that emu is palm wine.
wine. Yes.
Okay, so it's more like the English wine glass,
Yes.
more like a goblet.
Yes.
Yeah, more like a goblet. So this is the African goblet. Aha, Imemu. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think that's good. All right. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So this one right in front of me is called Iba. Iba. This one.
Oh, this very one.
Yes.
Igba.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But is Iba?
I-
No, is it?
Iba. Iba.
Igba.
Iba.
Igba. No, no. She's saying Igba. I'm not sure that.
We're talking about Iba.
It's Iba.
Iba.
Iba. Iba.
Igba. Now, we actually need to get this right because, listen, so many Yoruba children do not know what these things are called.
Yeah, they don't know.
And I can assure you that some of them have not even seen it. And that's actually where it gets me very, very uncomfortable because the African child is literally being cut off from his heritage. So this is why it's very important because we're here to educate people as much as we educate ourselves, right? So it's very important we actually get these things right because you never can tell who you would be communicating to. So it's very important we actually get it right. So this is Iba.
Iba.
Iba. Okay. Okay.
So this other one,
Yeah. This.
the white one.
Okay. Okay.
So that is Kalu Fufu.
Kalu fufu.
Yeah, that's the white chalk.
Okay. Kalu fufu. So that's it. All right. You see, this is called white chalk in English, right? Kalu fufu. I remember. Let's talk about this a little bit. I remember growing up. We used to see this as property of shrines and demons and witchcraft. Obviously, that's actually what I was taught. I don't know about
Yeah,
you.
same here.
Yeah, that's what I was taught. Seeing a person handling this, hey, come on, don't relate to that guy. You can see he's a wizard, and avoid him. That's the word. Okay, we will explore each of these, gradually. Yes.
So the one, those cowries,
Okay.
so those ones are called Oweyo.
Owoeyo.
Oweyo.
Okay. In English, these are called cowries, and I think by history, this is actually the dollar of our forefathers. And it really pains me so much. It really pains me so much that I never grew up to see any of these, even with my parents. All right. You see, they never preserved any of these for me, and I'm not sure. You guys, that's what I'm talking about. That's slavery. All right. The moment finance was transitioned from this to the Western pounds, to the British pounds. They forgot about this completely, and generation after generation, we got completely disconnected from what used to be what I'll call our legal tender. So it's very important that we take our viewers back to this African heritage. Okay, this is called in English. Help me again. The cowries, right? They are called cowries.
I think they're majorly gotten from the water,
Oh yes, 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 yes.
like the shell.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. All right. Yes. We will go into their history and how they were found, but definitely not on this episode.
So this pot, the clay pot,
Okay, that's this. Yeah.
yes, it's called Isashu.
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 That's like a plate.
Not necessarily. It's actually a pot. You know. No, no, not necessarily a plate. Why? Because you can actually put it on the fire.
Yeah, but the size of a plate.
The size of a plate.
Yeah,
Size of
yes,
it.
yes,
Red
yes.
orange.
Okay,
But when you add
okay.
your meal in it, you can actually warm it.
Warm it inside. This is actually one thing I grew up meeting my father, use. And the way he used it was so selfish.
A meal from this.
Oh my word! Come on, don't even go there. I remember all the ogbono soup and all of that. After cooking the general soup, so his own was always dished separately and then put back on the fire, and then it is boiled again. And oh my
I
God,
think
it tastes heaven.
the taste like there's something this.
There's something about this
Does
pot actually.
taste of
Yes, yes, yes. And this is completely made out of clay.
clay, yeah.
Nothing else. It's completely made out of clay. So only God knows what makes the soup taste, very, very rich. And I know fragrance is kind of wondering what could that be. Don't worry, maybe one of these days we'll just try and see how we can try it out.
Okay, so we come to the talking drum,
Yes.
and it is called Ilugongon.
Ilugongon.
Yeah,
Wow.
Ilugongon.
Ilugongon. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So we have the shakers.
Yeah.
It is called shekere.
Shekere. Yeah. This is the shaker. This is what is referring to as shekere.
While
Okay.
the ostill is called irekere.
Irekere.
Yes.
Irekere. Okay. I think we also made this back in the day. This was always handled by queens and royal family and all that. Okay, I mean Africa is beautiful actually.
Very good.
Africa is beautiful. Sometimes I tend to think that the Western world actually envy us.
Indeed.
Yes, just that unfortunately, most Africans actually do not value who they are.
We don't know what we carry, what we have.
Exactly, and permit me to deviate a little bit. Sometimes when I see a person who is dark in complexion, use some kind of cream and body lotion and all that to gel off the dark color, in order to look white or to look, should I use the word European? No matter how much they call it bleaching, right? No matter how much you bleach, you never can look like a European. It's not possible. You get it? It's not possible. And that is what makes Africa unique. All right? Africa is unique. Africa is very important as well, even to the survival of the world. Yes. Because if we take this back memory lane to the development of the human world, let's look at the word human. Human, right? Human. Now, the word "hu" there means soil. Don't you get it? Man from the soil. Don't you get it? So, if you look at it from that perspective, you really realize that Africans are actually should I say, the mother of human existence. That's it. Because when you say human, man from hue, man from the soil. Of course, anything you take from the soil isn't going to be white. I'm not sure.
Natural.
Yeah, it will just naturally be dark
Okay.
in complexion, and that's it. Except it goes through certain processes. It has to go through certain processing units to change that color, to change that coloration. But if you were to look at it from that human, man from hue, man from the soil, then you then understand the importance of the African continent, the importance of the African race. Africa represents humanity. All right? Africa represents humanity. And not until we begin to appreciate this fact, things will not change for the better. Because the real problem actually is the fact that the average African has been intimidated over time. Intimidated, I use that word deliberately, has been intimidated over time. Of course, we know from slave trade to the introduction of school. Yeah, I shouldn't forget to mention that. The introduction of school. I deliberately didn't say the introduction of education. All right, the introduction of school. So, and all of these, and then let's not forget the role that religion has played in making the average African a slave to his or her belief. The average African has become a slave to his or her belief. Sometimes when I see some pastors vibrate on the pulpit and shout down the roof and all that, I just wag my head and I'm like, all I am seeing is just a confused fellow. And that's the fact. Because these people are completely disconnected. You see some people, and the only thing connecting them to Africa is their complexion. I'm telling you, their complexion. In terms of belief system, in terms of reasoning, they become a slave to their mentality. Okay? And that is why today, whatever goes wrong is referred to Africa. Whatever goes wrong today is referred to Africa. There's a fraudster caught somewhere, especially in Nigeria. The first question is he a Nigerian? Is he an African? Whatever, anything that goes wrong anywhere, the first question people ask is he an African? Okay, and I do not blame these people who perceive Africans to be so. Of course, we know there are exceptions, all right? There are a lot of Africans doing very well, doing Africa proud in different parts of the world, in different industries, and in different aspects of society, okay? But we are looking at the general perspective that the world hold about the African, or that Africans hold, most Africans, I beg your pardon, hold about themselves. So it has become very imperative that we actually begin to dig deep into who we are and see how much we can contribute to the reformation of the mindset of the average African new generation. All right, before we forge ahead, I have something very, very sumptuous, very delicious that I have in the studio today, and it's actually something that speaks about our heritage when it comes to food. Okay, don't worry. As time goes on, we're going to be introducing different things. All right, different delicacies and all that. But I hope that you will just manage with me what I have here. I have here some peanuts, and if you don't mind, what is it called in Yoruba?
It is called the ekpa.
Ekpa.
Epa.
Ekpa, not ekpa.
Not Epa.
Ekpa means killing.
Epa.
That's why you're here. You're here to be. Okay. Yeah, don't mind us. This is actually what we do on the studio. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, I bet you make sure you do not miss a thing next time. And for you not to miss out on any of our shows, just subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell so that when next we post any video on this channel, you'll be notified. And if you have not liked this video yet, make sure you do so because we're here to get you entertained, educated, and informed. And do not forget to share this video to your friends, your loved ones, and those you consider as enemies or those who consider you as enemies too, because you never can tell who you might just be helping. In case you have comments or concerns, go straight to the comment section beneath this video and send us your thoughts. What you think about the African heritage, what you think about what religion has actually done to the average African youth. All right, back to you guys. I have some peanut here. It's called ekpa, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me. In Africa, if I present you with something, I'll first of all, have a taste of it so that you. Oh yeah. All right. You can help yourselves. Okay.
The initial koko.
You're welcome. What does that mean?
It means I'm placing you first before.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Okay. It's actually African culture. That's one of those things we learned from the Western world. Of course, in Africa we put ladies first, right? Okay, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay. Now, today we want to pick one or two proverbs. All right, one or two African proverbs. Like I said, we are dwelling on the Yoruba heritage, the Yoruba language. Okay, and God helping us, we're going to be going, from tribe to tribe, language to language, because Africa is rich, rich in heritage, rich in culture, and rich in soil as well. Now, why is it so important that we take this generation back to proverbs and adages? It is so imperative that we do so because these are guiding principles that guided our ancestors, our forefathers, back in the day. These were wisdom sayings. All right, these were things that fathers used to speak to their children in ways that others would not comprehend. It's more like a coded language within the African culture, within the African community. Okay, our forefathers, were full of wisdom. Yes, they were full of wisdom, and so they communicated within themselves, in these coded words, coded languages. Okay, and these actually helped in raising very responsible children, responsible generations, and all that. But with the influx of civilization, which is a very good thing actually, only that we have to harness the strength in civilization and use it to develop ourselves, the more, or develop ourselves better. Okay, So these proverbs and adages are almost going into extinction. Yes, I have met with a lot of young people, a lot of young people, probably in their hundreds of thousands, in different fora, in different symposia, in different workshops, different schools, and all that. And each time I see them, one thing I always easily pick up was that they were disconnected from their history. They were disconnected from their African heritage. All right? And proverbs and adages are just one way that we can bring back these teachings of our ancestors, these teachings of our forefathers, back into the minds of this new generation of Africans. So this is actually what it is about. And dear viewer, you might be asking, what does that have to do with the Bible? It has a lot to do with the Bible. Reason being that the introduction of religion into Africa has actually transformed the continent in diverse ways. All right, in some good ways, but also in some very bad ways, and even some very ugly ways. Now, when religion came, I use the word religion, Christianity, Islam, and all that. When religion came, it wasn't infused into our lifestyle. Rather, it was mandated on our forefathers. All right? So, I view the introduction of religion into Africa as a way of intelligently enslaving the future Africans. Because today, when you look around, let's take Nigeria for example. When you look at the Christian society within Nigeria, you get confused. I'll give you an example. A situation where in a church, you're not allowed to minister, whether as a chorister or as an usher or as a teacher or as a pastor, except you were putting on suit. You get it? And you have to put on suit. You know, that makes you look pastoral, kind of. A situation where some schools will mandate you to put on suit as a teacher. And then I begin to ask, I begin to question myself, what relationship do we have between suit and being a good teacher? A situation where in the bank you have to put on suit. Okay, recently that has been modified. That okay, on Fridays, on Friday, so you put on suit for 4 days out of 5 working days, and then on Friday, it's just Friday. You're going home, so you can just wear African. Now, these are actually the negative aspect of civilization and religion. So this is why it has become very imperative that we look at these African proverbs and adages, these sayings, and see whether they correlate with scripture principles. Religion makes it look like our forefathers were sons of Satan. You get it? Religion makes it look like everything about the ancient African tradition is evil. I mean, some people will see what we have here and they'll be like, who are these native doctors? Okay, you have the white chalk, you have the cowrie, you have the clay pot, you have the calabash and all that. And they'll be like, this is, I know some people will see this video and say, this is the Antichrist, coming to mix the African tradition, with,
Coming in subtly.
subtly, they want to infuse the African tradition. Actually, I stumbled on a video on social media, a pastor saying synchronism or something, and trying to synchronize the African tradition with the gospel. And this is a perceived very big pastor. All right. So this is why it is important that we have the Bible, because we are going to be bringing out facts from each of these proverbs, from each of these ancient sayings. Now, as we bring out the facts, we will go into the scriptures to see whether there is any discrepancy, any difference between what these ancient sayings taught and still teach and what the Bible teaches. So this is why it is important that we have the Bible in front of us. I'm actually saying this for the enlightenment of our viewers who would say, what are all of these doing with the Bible? So we are going to take one or two proverbs in today's episode. But before we do that, I want to say, if you have not liked this video yet, make sure you like it, and as we speak, share it to your loved ones and your friends and well-wishers, and make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that when we post the next episode, you will be duly notified.